Hi, this is the very basics of sounds and writing in Mandarin. So, and I mean really basic. I don't actually speak Mandarin, and there's potentially a billion people who know this stuff more than me. However, this video is mostly just so you know how to say your J's, your X's, your Q's, and that sort of thing. Okay, so the basic idea of Chinese writing in general, Mandarin in this particular instance, is that a character is one syllable. So, for example, we have the character which is zhōng, and that means center or middle, and the character which means guo, and that means country or nation or kingdom. So if you put them together, it's zhōngguo, and that's the name for China. That's why it's sometimes called the Middle Kingdom. So my understanding is that a character will always have the same name, the same pronunciation. It's a hard job to actually learn what it is, but I believe it doesn't change. Don't quote me on that. Okay, so there is a parallel ABCD system in Mandarin, which is called Pinyin. So that was brought out by the Chinese government in the 50s. So theoretically, Chinese could be written purely using A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and theoretically the characters could just be done away with. However, in reality, I think the cultural attachments are a bit too strong to do that. And in addition, you have situations like this, where two characters can pretty much have the same name. So this sin is kind of a root for things that are new, and this sin is kind of, it's basically it's an old drawing of a heart, and it's a root word for heart or emotional things or mind things in general. So that's one reason why maybe it wouldn't work if you got rid of the characters. So so the main reason Pinyin exists, it doesn't really need to be used by the Chinese, except in the current day and age, Chinese people can use a QWERTY keyboard for entering it into their phones. So they type, for example, Xin, just like I showed you. There'll be a list of possible characters they can use, and they'll select which one matches, and that one gets put into their writing. Okay, so the basics of Chinese, or Mandarin in particular, is that each character is a syllable, and each syllable can be said one of 5 ways. So I've chosen the syllable lao, because it sounds very Confucian. I don't know. Alright, so they're called tones. So you could say every single syllable in Mandarin can be said high, rising, low, or falling. And if you get the sound wrong, it's a completely different word and you're incomprehensible. So the numbers are official. They're not just my invention. They are officially tone 1, tone 2, tone 3, tone 4. Okay, so tone 1, high, is lao. Tone 2, rising, is lao. Tone 3, low, is lao. And tone 4, falling, is lao. Lao, 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 lao. Sometimes on the end of word we have a neutral tone, where it doesn't really matter so much how you say it, but that's not very often. Alright, so Mandarin, there's only a very specific number of beginning letters, and there's only a specific number of ending letters. So there are only a very specific number of syllables that can exist in Chinese, and they all end in either vowels or N or NG. So no Chinese syllable ends in a T, no Mandarin syllable ends in a K. So there's only about 200 possible combinations. So I'll go through all the beginning letters that could exist. We have B, which is B. P is harder, which could be, it's a bit like a B but more air put into it. P. If it's followed by an I, it's kind of more like psi. So B and P are similar, but P has more air. B, ps. M is the same, m. F is the same, f. D is the same, d. T is kind of like a D, but with more air. So D and T are pairs, so d and t. N is n, L is l. So this is all relatively easy to follow so far. Okay, so we get into the unknown ones. Z, it's kind of like Z's in Italian or German. It's like a TH, it's z. So if we have a syllable zai, Z-A-I, it's zai. And this could be pronounced in any of those tonal ways. Zai, 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 zai. So regarding Pinyin, all syllables must have one of those four markings, otherwise you don't actually know how to pronounce anything. Alright, so C is kind of like a TS sound, almost like the Z, so it's, if we take the syllable cao, C-A-O, cao, cao, kind of like a soft T, cao. S is the same, S. ZH is like a J sound, J. So you've got a popular Chinese surname is Z-H-A-N-G, zhāng, zhāng. Sorry, I didn't get the tone right, but it's a J sound, J. For example, Zhōng. CH is ch, same as in English. SH is kind of sh, same as in English. R, you need to roll your tongue and put it on the top of your mouth and kind of keep it there as you say the R. So you've got a syllable like r, r, r. It's not a lot of sound comes out, but that's how you have to do it. R. Okay, so J, it's kind of like a DS, like jia, z, jia, which means house or family, jia. Q is kind of like a heavier TS, so it's like ts. So qǐng, qǐng is kind of the word for please or asking questions, qǐng. X is like an S. G is normal, g. K is kind of like a G but with more air, so g, k, k. So if we have a syllable that's kai, kai. And H is kind of throaty, a bit like in Spanish, J, so it's h, h, hai, he, how. Yeah. Alright, so those are the possible word beginnings. It's also possible. We've got, and then we have a certain number of possible endings. Okay, so A is a, O is o, E is so it's not it's I, in general it's E. Having said that, there's a certain number of combination letters. I is different after. So we have z, c, s, j, ch, sh, and I is very flat after those letters. Meanwhile, we have zi, ci, and si, where I is very E. Okay, moving on, we have a syllable that is the only one that's not the only ending that's not a vowel or a ng sound or an n sound, and this ending is R. So even though the R might be by itself, you always have to say R. So the number for 2 is R. And one of the root words for children is R. So it all depends on the tones. AI is I. EI is A. So for example, if we put together a beginning and an ending A, it would be de. And if you did it with all the 4 tones, it would be de, 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 de. ao, o, an, un, ang, ung, ong, I. So remember that I after Z, C, S, ZH, CH, SH, and R is flat. After another letter, it's E. So some of these endings are written differently if they're by themselves without a beginning. So E by itself is written YI, but it's still the E sound. So the number 1 is YI, E. Okay, the ending IA is Ya, IAO is Yao, IE is Ye. So this is one of the few examples where the E is not a flat but it's kind of Ye. The E kind of becomes higher. So the Mandarin for thank you is 谢谢, and you can hear the E's are a bit more pronounced. 谢谢. IU is yo, so it's not you, it's yo. IAN is yan, so it's not yan, it's kind of more like yen, almost like an E sound, a little bit irregular there. IN is in, IANG is yang. ING, I was taught young, but I've also heard it a bit more like ying, like we do in English. So again, the word for please, it's zhōng, QING. That's open to a little bit of interpretation, and people might correct me on that one. IONG, yong. U is u, same as in a lot of European languages. By itself, U is written W-U, W-U, but it's still U, it's not wu. UA is wa, and all of these, if they're by themselves, are written with a W. But if they're part of a connection with a beginning, for example, mu, it's just written with a U. So as I said, a lot of these endings change spelling if they're written by themselves. UA is wa, UO is wo, and the word for me or I is wo. So that's one of the first things you would learn in Mandarin if you were inclined. UAI is Y. Okay, UI is irregular. It's not we, it's way. So the spelling by itself is actually very different. It's W-E-I, more logical. Way. Okay, so we have a famous concept called fēng shuǐ. Fēng shuǐ, if I got the tones right. So feng is air, and shui is water. So you've heard of that before. That's more the concept of aligning the material possessions around your life. I don't know. You should look it up yourselves. But you've heard of it, and the pronunciation is wei, shui. UAN is one. UN is irregular. It's not un, it's uen, as if it was UEN. And as you can see, if it's by itself, it's WEN, wen, uen. So if you take a common Chinese name, SUN, it's not sun, it's suen. Okay, UANG is wang. UENG, remember we're keeping the E's flat, is weng. Okay, so U, just like I, U is different depending on whether it comes after a particular letter. So U with two dots over the top is U, like in French or German, U. Having said that, If U comes after Y or X or J or Q or J or Q, so the U with two dots, if it comes after an X or a Y or a J or a Q or an X, as I said, the sound is automatically U, even though if it doesn't have two dots over the top. Okay, so U with two dots on the top, E would be Yue, Yue. So the word for moon or month is Yue. UAN with two dots on the top would be Yuan, Yuan, pardon, Yuan. And U with two dots on the top and N, it's not Un, it's Yuan, kind of irregular. So I think this could have been done a bit better, but that is the basics of how to say Mandarin syllables. So if you joined a beginning with CH, like CH, and you had an ending like EN, it'd be Chen. And of course, the tone mark would indicate whether it's Chen, 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 or Chen. It would be up to you to learn the character and the character name, but I'm only dealing with the ABC Pinyin at this point, or ever. Okay, so thank you for watching. This was not very straightforward, but the Pinyin system is quite well designed, very easy to understand once you get your head around it. Just remember that I's are different depending on whether they're after a particular thing. So the main thing you need to understand, after an X it's Si, after an S it's S, same as U. After an X, Q or J, same as the I. After an X it's Su, after an S it's Su. Alright, thank you very much.